Hi, I'm Summer.
And I'm Mike.
And we got married.
With children.
We're going on 2 years of marriage.
But we've been together for 10.
He brought 2.
She brought 2.
Together, that's 4 kids.
That's way too many kids.
And we want to share what works for us.
And what doesn't.
For step-parents, co-parents, marriage, being your best self, managing work, family, friends, health. We're going to talk about...
everything.
You ready, babe?
Always.
Well, hello. It is Mike and Summer here for another episode of Everything Always.
What's up? What's up?
So actually, we're recording this on Stepmother's Day, which happens to fall...
Hey, happy Stepmother's Day.
Thank you. It happens to fall a week after Mother's Day. I'll be super honest, being a stepmother, I didn't know that this was an actual legit holiday until I started to see it on social media. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Well, and to get everybody up to speed, it's like 10 o'clock at night, Sunday night, and we're like, we've got to do a podcast.
Yes.
Right? We've been so busy and there's been so much going on. It's been crazy. But Summer was like, hey, check it out. It's also Stepmother Day, which I think is a little odd. There's no big brunches. People aren't running radio commercials about like, what are you getting for your stepmom this year?
There are no cards at Hallmark that say...
in the category of stepmom?
No.
Man, talk about underappreciated for something that potentially is a lot of work.
I will say that from my 2 stepchildren, I actually did get some great appreciation once they were reminded to me that it was Stepmother's Day. I did get some appreciation on
I was like,
Mother's Day.
Hey guys, you know it's today's stepmother. And they're like, oh, we love you.
Oh,
They're super
happy
sweet.
Stepmother's Day. We love you. Thank you so much.
It's a little funny because, I mean, Mother's Day is big to do. You can't buy flowers. All the restaurants are booked out. There's like...
it's a big deal.
Commercials
but
on TV.
I do think that on Mother's Day, so many, like myself, so many stepmothers, mothers, they're appreciated for
Probably
the
on
different
Mother's
roles.
Day.
Yeah, the different roles that they play.
Fair. Yeah, for sure.
So tonight, in all fairness, we've been, if you guys have been following us, we've been in the middle of a move, lots of things going on. And normally we have interviews and things lined up so that there is never a lag in episodes coming out. But
we have been busy.
It's just that time of life for us right now. It is a busy time of life. And as much as I am the person that is super staying ahead of it, getting all the things.
Oh, and for all of you out there that think that like doing this podcast is our full-time job,
No.
and like this is what we do. No.
There's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. There's a lot. We planned in the very beginning. We were like, all right, we got all these interviews lined up. But right now, like things are kind of like a lot of things are scheduled next week and the week after. And so
So tonight we're pulling it out.
We're pulling it out. And here's the thing. We have so many important topics that we talk about all the time. We're like, that needs to be a podcast. That needs to be a podcast. Because the thing is that these things are super important to us. They're things we talk about all the time and we want to share with you. And so one of the things that we've been talking about, well, there's tons of things that we're always talking about when it comes to blended families.
And it's not just talking about it. We're living it. Like we're in the middle of it.
Yes.
Like we are a blended family with teenagers, like in the middle. We're right in the middle.
We heard something the other day from one of our children, and the only reason I won't repeat it is because there's certain things that we keep confidential, but it brought up a topic and we started talking about this with some of our adult friends that were children of blended families. And we thought, wow, this would be a really great topic to discuss on the podcast. And that is using your children as a therapist. Or using your child as a counselor or somebody who you
confide in your kid.
That you confide in, yeah.
And you're basically talking through your issues with them.
We've had some experiences that we know with very close friends, with other family members, there's a lot of things that we have heard which has made us very passionate about this topic. And we always say we are not the actual counselor or therapist or quote unquote expert. What we feel makes us have an expertise in this topic is that we're actually living through it and that we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And so just like anything, if we can help you go through or navigate some of these tough issues.
So let's talk a little bit more specifically in terms of like what we've observed.
Okay.
Right. So in this particular topic, the situation is basically a lot of times when your kids are a little older, right? Normally between the ages of maybe 10 and up, you get into a situation where you're like, okay, I've now found myself in this scenario where I'm no longer with the other person. And I am dealing with all these feelings, all these emotions, all the stuff that's going on, and I need to like vent and I need connection. And it's really hard because you have kids. So now it's not like you can like be out with your girlfriends all the time or out with your boyfriends, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the point is you're not out. So then all of a sudden you find that you are now connecting with your kids and using them as the sounding board and the thing to talk about the issues and like all of this. But it is so important to know that that is like terrible. It puts them in a position that is like not fair for them. They need to look at you as a role model. They need to look at you as a person that is like giving them stability. And when you use your kids as your friend, it does not work. It does not work. And it will damage them. And we've seen it firsthand. We want to get into who specifically, but in general, it's hard to generalize when you just want to be like, this is what's up.
Here's the thing. We actually have some adult friends who have gone through that in their personal life. We know children that have gone through that where one parent might be venting their frustrations about another parent. And we've done several, in a lot of our podcasts, because we are so passionate about please don't talk negatively about the other parent. We've talked about that a lot. But what happens sometimes is that people are venting to their child because they're like, oh, child, you know your dad, you know your mom just like I do, and you're the perfect person that I can vent to about this situation that I'm upset about. And
even in the moment, the kid might actually be like, yeah, I totally get that. But man, they're dying inside because they don't want to be in the middle. They don't want to be thrust into like that situation and that scenario and having to deal with all of that.
So I would like to give an example. Anonymous friend, back when I was a young teen, mother had discovered that father was having an affair. And this young teen was like in love with her father. I mean, her dad was the greatest person on the planet. And mother started giving all of these pieces of evidence, much like you would a girlfriend. I just found that he bought flowers for this woman, or I just found out that he did this or did that. And there were all these different things that she was sharing, and the frustrations about her husband she was sharing with her teen daughter. And it was so upsetting.
Are you sure this is like when you were a teen, or is this something that...
No, this is actually like a teenage experience, or even preteen. This was
like one of your girlfriends, or
this was a girlfriend from many, many, many years ago. And it was a heartbreaking thing because I remember even at that time as a young teen going, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine like having to get that information and how you even have to process that.
Yeah, that's terrible. So at the root of it though, now the situation is your teen friend, right?
Well, the teen friend is like going, well, this is like, you're talking about my dad, who I absolutely adore and love,
and is being forced to like be in a certain
and now
mindset.
You're telling me all of this information about him, and so now I have to be mad at him, but I still love him. This is very confusing. And you also, the girl doesn't even know all of the truth of what's actually happening. And so I just remember at a young age thinking,
and at the end of the day, there's reasons that lead you to not being together. Like, we're not going to get into that.
But hold on. We're not going there. I just want to talk about the experience of a young person having to hear the negative things about her parents that are still together and having to hear something so devastating. But wait a minute, you're my mom and dad. You're supposed to be together forever. And now all of the sudden you are telling me that dad is doing X, Y, and Z.
And
Which
trying
may-
to
which-
trying to create teams.
Which may or may not, we don't know all the facts. She didn't know all the facts. All we know is that she is being told all of this information that is extremely disturbing. This is just an example that I'm saying because
I feel like the real takeaway here is that you're supposed to leave your kids out of it.
you are.
Create a protective, like, safe environment.
But there's also, I know adult children, they have divorced parents, right? And they talk about their experience as a child when their parents were just going through divorce, or even their upbringing, having grown up as a child of divorce.
Is there a certain word for that?
Adult child of divorce, is that what it is?
I don't know. It sounds fancy.
Anyways, there are adult friends that we have. There are adults on this planet that actually have been raised with divorced parents, because guess what? Divorce is at a high rate, and these are some things that are happening today. And my point is that we can take away from the experiences that they have had. And I have heard several times women, men who have grown up with parents that were divorced, and they have heard from one parent or the other too many details of why they are divorced. This one had an affair. This one did this to me. This one broke my heart. There's so many specific details that young child at that time absolutely does not need to hear.
And the real thing is, it's your ego, it's your own selfish side that is using them to, like, get credibility for the reason why you're going through your hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fair. And it will damage their relationship with that parent in the future. So, hey, for all of you listening that like to, like, buddy up with your kid and, like, talk about why they should be on your side versus your now ex side, stop doing that. Stupid and terrible.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on us and listening to our podcast. Our goal is for you to not only learn from us, but to learn with us. We've taken a leap on being pretty open about our blended family and how we do life in everything. We want to make sure we bring you all the things you want to hear. Always. So please, if you have specific questions like, how do I get along with my ex? Or how do I get along with his ex? Or how do I set some boundaries in place? Or why doesn't my stepson like me? Please email us with your questions. Email them to info@summerfelix.com because we want to answer those questions, and we aim to bring you the best guests and conversations to address your most burning issues about everything. Always.
The thing is if you are in pain enough that you want to vent and you want to talk about those things, find somebody else to talk to instead of your child, because it is not their responsibility to have to bear that pain that you are having. They are going through their own set of emotions and pain because you guys are not getting along, or you are going through a divorce, or whatever it is that's happening. They feel it, and that makes them feel very insecure. And at such a young age to have to deal with that insecurity is way too much intensity that they should have to deal with.
And they're dealing with all those emotions and all the struggle themselves of going, like, what's my life going to be like? Where am I going to live? How is this going to work? Why? Like, everything in my life is going to be disrupted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Don't be selfish. Don't put more on top of, like, what's going to happen.
I have actually heard from people that have gone through divorce that are still triggered, children that have gone through the divorce of their parents who are still triggered by the trauma of their parents not getting along, or of the things that one parent has said about the other parent, or the things that they have had to hear
for a lifetime,
still as an adult
in their 40s,
well into their 40s. And it boggles my mind. And I'm like, you know what? But no wonder. I could totally see how that can happen. One of the biggest reasons, as you know, if you've heard past episodes, that we wanted to start this podcast is for the hope that people that are going through the breaking up of a family and starting a new family is to please remember that kids are kids. They're not adults going through this same experience, and they don't have the maturity level. They don't have the smarts to say, okay, I'm going to do it this way. Don't bring them into the drama that is unnecessary. Let them have the easiest transition that you can possibly provide, because it is your responsibility as an adult and as a parent.
And it's going to be super hard, but sometimes just bite your tongue.
Yes. And B is also that just because a family is breaking up does not mean everything has gone to hell for them. They can still have a most beautiful life, and maybe even better, because now they're going to see things differently. They're going to see their parents in a different light. They're going to have a different experience with different people in their family.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that everything has gone to hell because their family has broken
the key is,
up.
remember, you're doing adult transitional things. Your kids don't have to be involved in that. Make it easy for them.
Right.
Make choices that are like going to make it easier for them. And sometimes that is like having discretion in the things that you say and the things that you introduce to them. They don't need to know about all the drama. They don't need to know the details. It will be easier if you keep it neat and tidy. Like, they're going to have to know that you're not going to be together, but they don't need all the details. They don't need the reasons why. They don't need the brain damage.
No, they don't. When they're adults and they have questions, you can share with them then.
When they're like 48, 50 years old, on your deathbed, you can share all the dirty laundry.
No,
but until then,
wait for them to ask those questions. But until then, they don't need to know that. If you've been, divorced for 5 years or whatever, and all of a sudden, you're having an argument about your schedule or money or whatever that thing is, they don't need to be involved in that. Handle that business between the two of you. But back to, the whole reason, one of the biggest things is about protecting the children in their experience, because it's hard enough being a kid growing up anyways in this world. I mean, there's so many things that are coming at you. And so as parents, if we can be there to make it the most secure and stable environment, whether you are together with the partner that created this child or together with somebody new or a single parent, do the things that teach them and guide them, but don't give them the unnecessary drama. And so that kind of leads me into something else, which is, it's not that you're hiding that there's real problems or there's real issues that are happening in life. It's more about not bringing them into a part of something because it affects your ego. If it's something that you're trying to bring them into because it will make you feel better about yourself and justify why you're doing the things that you're doing, then it really has nothing to do with them.
All of that, yeah, for sure.
If it's something that can actually teach them and help them grow, like, for example, parents are going to argue. People are going to have disagreements. It doesn't mean that you should hide those things from your children. One thing that I noticed, even with my parents growing up, is that parents will have arguments. They will disagree on things. You don't need to hide the fact that you've disagreed on something. It's actually a good thing for them to see you have a disagreement. It's a good thing to actually see, for them to witness how you work that out. However, the dangerous part comes from when you're trying to leverage the kids and leverage their, oh, hey, I think you should side with me. Or, your dad did this wrong and this is why I'm upset with him. Or your mom, gosh, she's gone crazy. Whatever. Do you see what I'm trying to say here?
I totally do.
Come on, back me up. It's late. We are doing this at 10:30. You mentioned this before, on a Sunday night. We are tired. We have been moving. We're still showering. We are still showering outside in an outdoor shower for 3 weeks now.
I call it camping.
He calls it camping. That's all camping.
Camping.
We're tired.
This is glamour camping, actually.
Glamping? It is.
Glamping.
I mean, it's true. It is. But I will tell you that I have a little plastic kit that I bring out that has all the things I need to shower with and brush my teeth with and all that kind of stuff. It very much feels like camp.
And here's the thing. We're doing it with our family.
We are.
And guess what? It's not the first time we've done this before, so We are experienced. We are ready for the challenge, and the kids sort of like it. We do a lot of barbecuing. We do a lot of hanging out outside.
I feel like they're having a blast. There are no complaints from them, which cracks me up because at some points we're just like, all right, kids, you got to get out of your rooms. We need to plastic coat everything because there's going to be some drilling.
And for all the people that don't know, we have 4 kids.
Yeah.
Summer had 2. I had 2.
Boom, we came together. Now there's
Bam.
6 of us.
Too many, actually. In fact, any listeners out there that are maybe needing a kid, private message us. Maybe we could send you a kid. I don't know. We have too many. I'm just kidding.
We got 12 through 16. It depends on what you need. No, just kidding. Yeah. We love our babies.
No, of course. I'm just joking around. All right. So here's the thing. Thank you for tuning in tonight for another episode of Everything Always.
This is funny. So
we're tired. We're like, okay, let's go to bed. No, let's do a podcast.
Yeah. We're gonna see how this one turns out. I just want to close this last point though.
Yeah,
The main points are, please don't use your children as a counselor. It's not their responsibility. They're
not your best friend. They're not your counselor. They're not your sounding board. They're not the thing that you're going to use to justify your position.
It's not fair for them to have the burden of the things that you are stressed out about. And you know what those things are. When you are feeling upset and you're looking for somebody to justify how you feel, your child is not the person to have to do that for you. You've got to figure that out on your own. And this is us just being like, hey, you got to man up, woman up, put on the big girl panties, put on the big boots, whatever you got to do. Big
girl panties?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm just saying, when it comes to women or men, put on the things you need to put on to make you be a man or a woman, be an adult. And do not burden your children with the stress that you have. It is not fair.
That's right. That's selfish. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Drop the mic. Boom.
At the same time, if you are in a new relationship now, or you are in a blended family like we are for 10 years, or somewhere where you've been together for a little while, it's also okay for them to see the real things that you guys are going through. But remember to be mature about it. Remember that every time you have a disagreement, every time you feel sad, those are all real feelings. It's okay to have those real feelings. But remember that you are an example of how to get through that. So if you are having an argument or you are having a disagreement, you can bring the kids in and say, hey, guess what? We didn't agree on X, Y, and Z. And I want to take responsibility for how I treated your mom, or I want to take responsibility for how I treated your dad, or things that I said. Let them see some of the real stuff that happens, but don't bring them into the stuff that you are personally struggling with that has to do with your ego. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense?
I think we're saying the same thing again and again.
Okay.
I think we should wrap it up.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's go watch a movie.
Okay. We're going to go watch a movie. Thank you guys for listening.
Hey, and by the way, what do we do on Fridays?
We do Brewing with the Molders Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific. I kind of cringed because that just seems so early. It seems
so early.
I think we have been talking about merging that into a different hour of the day. However,
Not yet.
Until then, because we have to get up early. You guys should get up early too.
Friday mornings, Pacific Standard. Hook up with us.
Brewing with the Molders, everythingalwaysshow.com to see the podcast, show notes, all the good things.
Hey,
and
if you like listening to us on this podcast, tell your friends and subscribe.
Please please share, please subscribe, and email us. info@summerfelix.com if you have any specific questions for us. We would love to address them. Thank you guys so much.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to our podcast. You know what they say, if you can't find what you're looking for, then you need to create it. So that's what we did.
Yep, I scoured the internet and looked for the tribe that spoke to me, and I just couldn't find the community that was raw, vulnerable, and really wanting to make a change to the millions of families like ours. So I decided to create it. It took about one conversation for my husband to say, I'm in, and here we are.
But it takes listeners like you to keep it alive.
So please, if you like this, write a review, take a screenshot, share it on your social media. Tell people, it means the world to us.
Remember to email us. We would love to hear from you.
And please share this with someone you love.
And be bold enough to share it with someone that you don't.